Here's the walkthrough for Edexcel Foundation from June 2019. It's paper 3, so calculators at the ready. As always, on the first set of questions, don't do anything daft, but don't take it too easy either. There's always things that can go wrong. So on the first question, rounding off to the nearest 100, so the digit you're interested in is in the tens column. It's a 7. So we round up, and up it goes to 500. Write down a multiple of 8. So you can write out your 8 times 10. You can use your calculator. You could do 8 times. Have an educator guess. 8 times 7 is 56. And obviously, therefore, 48 was a possible correct answer as well. Change 1.5. So kilometres to metres. The units, a kilometre is bigger than a metre. So you should be getting more metres. And K means multiply, therefore, by 1,000, giving you 1,500 metres. From the list, write down the numbers as powers of 3. Obviously, you could use your calculator and write down 3 to the power of 1, 3 to the power of 2, 3 to the power of 3, 3 to the power of 4, if you wanted to. But it says all the numbers, giving you a clue that there's at least more than one, and it's 9 and 27. When it comes to converting percentages to fractions, always remember that percentage per cent means out of 100. If it cancels down, feel free. This one doesn't, though. Next one. So, number 6, if it was a non-calc paper, I'd be going straight for finding 10%. But because we're on a calculator paper, whenever it's percentages, again, like a previous question, percent means out of 100, of means times, and you can let your calculator do the rest of the work. It's 16. Next one, there are more green counters than red counters. So it's your job to do a subtraction to find the difference. On to question 8. The fuel tank holds 52, so that up there is 52, and it's a quarter full. So use your calculator. 52 times a quarter means there's 13 litres of fuel in there. So how much more? Well, each one's 13. So it's 3 times 13. Again, mental arithmetic, or press your buttons. On to number 9. Simplify. Calculator not a lot of use. So if you focus on the E terms, you've got 11 of them. They're all positive. Add them together. But then we've got 6F minus 1F gives us credit or positive 5F. Next, Bill has 400 counters. He gives basically all these away. So first thing I'll do before I even read on is add up how many he's given away. What fraction of the 400 counters is left? So Bill's got 240 left out of 400. Don't forget, this is a calculator paper. You can use your calculator to cancel that down. It becomes 2/5. On to number 11. So, bit of a wordy one. Top line tells us nothing. Table obviously we'll keep referring to. So, Brendan has to send 12 parcels. How much cheaper will it be? So, you could do each one times 12 and then subtract. I've chosen to do the subtraction first, so do a takeaway. So the difference in cost per parcel is £20.13, and if he's sending 12 parcels, it would be cheaper by £241.56. Luke wants to send 21 parcels, and it's become 20. Okay, he does the calculation. So the 21 has gone down to 20. The £15.25 has gone down to 15. Explain why Luke's calculation shows the actual cost will be more, and basically he rounded both his numbers down. So the actual answer would have been higher or above 300. Number 12. So this one, pretty straightforward ratio. There's three people, but that's actually 25 shares. So it's going to be out of 25. It's Ben. Ben's in the middle. It's 9 out of 25. Question 13. The first term is 24. The term to term rule is add 8, so it starts on 24. And you can use your calculator or your mental arithmetic to reel off the next few. But Josie says no number is in the 5 times table. Obviously, give an example to show that Josie is wrong, because 8 times 5 is 40. Question B, is 85 in this sequence? You could either carry on the sequence, feel free, or just go with the fact all the numbers in this sequence are even and 85 is odd. That's my preference, to keep it simple. Number 14, no matter whether you've got an old or new calculator, you really need, because it's plus and minuses with a divide, get them separated with brackets. Always helps your calculator out to do the right thing. Should get the answer 2.4774011. And if you've got a bigger screen, off it goes. So number 15, 4 weeks we're hiring the 3D printer for. So it's 4 times 70 plus a cost of 50. And your calculator will do the BIDMAS in the correct order for you. So we now hire a 3D printer, the total cost. All right, for how many weeks? So we work opposites. We do back to front. So let's start with the 680. Let's take away the standing charge of 50. And 630 divided by 70 will tell us how many weeks. And the calc says 9. On to number 16. So here's a rectangle, and they've plonked 2 together. So it asks for perimeter. My advice, just keep having a look and start jotting them down. That'll be 6. We have a 4 and a 6, a 4 and a 6, a 4 up there. But don't forget, all the way around will include this little bump of 2. So I've put a cross so I can start inputting in my calculator and I know where to stop. 4 plus 2 plus 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 6, giving me 32 centimetres for the perimeter. Number 17, so I'm not going to embarrass myself by getting a ruler out, but on the original, feel free to check out my worked examples on a PDF next to on my website. But I measured this as being roughly 1.8 centimetres, and this being 10.4-ish centimetres. So to find my multiplier, I did a divide. So that spat out a horrible decimal, 5.7 forever. That's my multiplier. So I take that 5.7 recurring and times it by the real size of the box, giving me 8.1. Not my greatest answer, because the mark scheme says they'll allow anything between 8 and 10. So chances are 9 would have been the perfect answer. Number 18. So modal or mode means most. Where do we have the most? So there are 7 scores of 2. So it's 2. Not 7, don't forget. Work out the total number of points. Each of these needs multiplying. So you can either make a list or get your calc to do everything for you. As long as you don't do anything daft, it should spit out 81. If it is being daft, put some brackets around each sum, but I prefer to do it by making a list. Changing the subject, transmission of formula, whatever you call it, all about opposites. Leave the x where it is. Subtract 4 from both sides. Leave the x where it is. Do opposites. Next to means times, so we need to divide both sides by 2. And the best way to divide is put the whole thing over 2. So question 20, one of the angles questions where they don't give you any angles, but they kind of do. They tell us it's a square, so all these are right angles. They tell us it's equilateral, so all of these are 60. Well, the diagonal of a square bisects the angle, so that is a 45. And we simply add those two together. Word you want for number 21. Liz goes on holiday, etc., etc. So Liz wants to change her £850. So start. Don't read on. She's got £850. That's the conversion. Let's multiply. 15750.5. She wants to get as many 200 rand notes as possible. So we divide by 200 and we get 78.7. But don't forget, this is one of those situations where we can't round up. It's got to round down because there's no such thing as 0.7 of a note. She can't get any more 200 rand notes. It has to round down. Number 22, another wordy one, very wordy page this. So again, like all wordies, one thing at a time. In October, Sally drove 560 miles in her car. Let's make a note. The car travels 34.5 miles, so we divide by 34.5. It means the car is using 16.23 and so on gallons. 1 gallon is 4.5, so we take that 16.23 because we have our answer currently in gallons. We're going to change it to litres. 73.85 and so on. But now we know we have it in litres. We've got the cost per litre. Let's times the answer by 1.08. £79 and it goes 763 and so on. It's a money question, so nearest pence. So 7, 6. On to question 23. Extremely wordy, but don't get put off. Stick with the idea of one thing at a time. So top line don't really tell us anything. On Monday, and it's so on. But at the end of the day, there are small packets, medium packets, and large packets. Alan, Beryl, Charlie. Let's just focus on Alan. All right. Alan buys 400 packets of mints. 32 are small, 40% are large. As you can see later on, work out the total number of medium packets. So we're actually more interested in medium packets. So 40%, 32, that's 72% small and large. We want 28%. And as with earlier questions, don't forget, percent means out of 100, of means times, 400 mints, that's 112 medium. On to beryl. 3/10 are small, 1/10 are large, that's 4/10, so 6/10 of 500 means beryl gets 300. Finally, on to Charlie. This has become a ratio question. Number of small to medium. So Charlie is 3 to 4. That's small to medium. Charlie buys 150 small. That's a multiplier of 50. So we do the same to both sides. So we have 112 medium mints, 300 medium mints, 200 medium mints. That'll be 612 medium mints. Very, very wordy, but as soon as you get it organised, one thing at a time, they're never as bad when you start working logically through the questions. Number 24. So again, don't worry about what this squiggle means. At the end of the day, it's saying to you, only worry about the numbers 1 to 9. Stick all the numbers 1 to 9 in here. So 1 only appears in A, 2 only in B, 3 in none of them, 4 in neither of them, 5 only in A, 6 appears in both, 7 in neither of them, 8 just in the A, and 9 appears in both. Again, don't worry about the squiggle. Complete the Venn diagram, job done. Find the probability A intersection B. Don't forget the intersection means the crossover. There are 2 in the crossover, the overlap, out of 9 numbers in the universal set. Overall, Katie's investing some cash. So, calculate the total amount of interest. So this is not one of those situations where we will multiply by 1.015. That's where we would use that to find out how much Katie has. Our multiplier here, 0.015, because we're only interested in the interest, not her capital. So it's 4 years, in it goes. Calculator will spit out a horrible decimal. It's the usual cash situation, so round off to the nearest decimal, 2 decimal places. As you can see down below, I've already cheated, but let's worry about part A. So 80 plants, that means the median would be, if you want to be technical about it, the 40.5th, but let's not worry about that bit. Let's have a quick look at the cumulative frequency. Add up as you go along. Alright, so as you can see, add up the 13, add on the 14, add on the 12, we're up to 46. So whether you understand this nonsense or not, the fact is, all the ones around the 40th and 41st plants, they're not in this section, they're in that section. Who knows where? It doesn't matter. They are somewhere in that chunk. As you can see on part B, I've already cheated to avoid any embarrassment with technology. The main thing being, don't forget with your frequency polygon, which also means line graph polygon, so you must use a ruler. Don't forget you make sure you are supposed to use the midpoints. So you should be using 15, 25, and so on. This is not a cumulative frequency graph, so we use the halfway points, not the upper class boundaries. Number 27. I'll describe them rather than writing them all out because there's quite a few things wrong with this. The obvious one you could say is where's the ones? If it's quarterly, it should go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So the horizontal axis is a load of nonsense. The vertical axis, where the heck is 9.5? So that should be 1. And as I say, 1, 2, 3, 4 would be another good reason. And if you want to go reason number 3, it's a time series graph, trend graph, whatever you want to call it, should be using a ruler. On to number 28. One of those that puts people off, but do not panic. So don't read too far ahead. Let's do one thing at a time. It says one line of symmetry. So I think it's pretty obvious that that symmetry is there. Now, what that tells us is that that is also 117. That's really important. The next bit that's important is down here, because all this is telling us is stuff we already know. The angle B to C to D, that means this angle here is double the angle C to D to E. In other words, whatever this is, that's double. And thanks to symmetry, we have that. Now let's not forget, this is a hexagon. Internal angles of a hexagon. Inside a hexagon, you can make 4 triangles. So the internal angles of a hexagon should add up to 720. So let's total these up. Inside we have a total of 6 x's. And the 2 angles we know add up to 234, making 720. Subtract 234 from both sides, and we get 486. So the value of x, divide 486 by 6, is 81. Do not think you've finished there. Always double check to make sure you've answered the question, because it actually asks, work out the size of angle A to F to E. So it actually didn't want x, it wanted 2x. So we need to double the angle. Tricky, yep, but don't give up. Number 29, for obvious reasons, calculators at the ready. So Jeremy's completed. Now I would straight away go radius is 0.8. Now if there's 3 tanks, that means there are 6 tops and bottoms, because let's not forget this is coating, so it's a surface area question. So if there's 3 tanks and they have those measurements, 6 lots of pi r squared gives you the total areas of the tops and bottoms of 3 tanks. Goes on and so on. Now we come to round the sides now. Don't forget, when you peel the label off a baked bean tin or whatever, it's a rectangle. It's a rectangle where the height would match the height of the cylinder, but the distance along here would actually be the distance along there. In other words, the circumference of the circle. Now let's not forget there's 3 tanks, so we need to do 3 lots, and let's do the area 1.8 times 2 pi r, giving us 27 and a whole lot of decimals. So the total of all the surfaces, if you add those two together, you get approximately 39.2 meters squared. As you can see, Jeremy has 7 tins. They'll cover 35 meters squared. Those numbers say it all. So you can say, has Jeremy got enough paint to cover? No. If you want to say he needs one more tin, that's up to you, but that's enough. That's enough calculations to get you all the marks. Finally, number 30, simultaneous equations. You've got a choice. You could treble the top equation. You could double the bottom equation. I always prefer to do whatever gives smaller numbers, so I'm going to leave equation 1 alone. Not going to bother with that, but I am going to double the bottom equation. 18x plus 4y equals 10. Giant equals sign. So I've gone to make the y's. I want to eliminate the y's. Same sign subtract. So different signs add. The y's disappear, giving us the friendliest answer possible. X equals 1. I'll pick the bottom equation to use. So 9x's are 9 plus 2y equals 5. Subtract 9 from both sides and divide both sides by 2. So that comes to the end of another walkthrough. Hope that helped, and I'll see you on the next one.